Greetings, friends and enemies. Welcome back to Art by Flan. Today we have something that's been sitting on my hard drive for a while. I started it, I was on a roll, I sketched it, and to be fair, it sat in my sketchbook for a couple of days because I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't want to ruin it. But then I realized I had an idea for it that would look much better digitally, or I could do it digitally easier, if that makes any sense. So you can sort of see with the sketch here that I have the pencil drawing, which is just her original body, but then I have like her additional arms and stuff added on digitally, because like I said, it was something I could do digital. I didn't have enough space on my page or anything like that. So I definitely enjoyed doing it digitally, and I'm glad I did because it came out much better. So when I first originally started this piece, it was going to be very Hindu inspired, and the line art and stuff still sort of is, and I was going to do that with my colors, but I couldn't find a palette I enjoyed. I didn't I really love the bright, vibrant colors you often see used when depicting like Hindu gods. I really enjoy those bright, vibrant color palettes, but for some reason they just weren't working for this particular piece. So I eventually scrapped that idea and went for a whole different color scheme, which you'll see when I get to that portion of the picture. But you can also see I've tried a bit different with editing. I needed to cut the line art down because it was really super long to make the video more coherent and even. So I'm just sort of bits and pieces of my line art here, so you don't have to watch me draw all of these flowers on her head. I have a shift here to sort of show you the beginning and the end, as it's just me repeating the process. You don't have to see me draw a million of those. And it's the same with this here. You don't have to just watch me draw flowers a million times before the video's over, and it saves time on the video, and I think it makes it more interesting. If you want to see that stuff, definitely let me know. I feel like it's a bit repetitive, so I don't know if people would be actually interested in seeing me draw that same flowery shape a million times, but definitely let me know if you are, and I'll work on leaving that in. But here I am just finishing up the line art for this. I didn't put too much detail on her body. I really ended up putting more detail on her arms and hands because I sort of wanted those, and especially her face, to be the focus with her multiple eyes and her elaborate jewelry and her flower crowns and stuff. I wanted her face to be more the focus, and I wanted her hands to be more of the framing device for it, which is why her body in general doesn't have a lot of detail on it. And of course the lotus flower at the top is from, again, Hindu sort of is more of a Hindu symbol of like enlightenment and inner peace and things like that, and you see it a lot again in depictions of Hindu deities. So I included that. Like I said, it was very inspired by that, and it was originally supposed to be even more, but eventually I just didn't like the color palette that I had chosen, and I found something totally different. So we're moving on to shading here. Again, this is another one of those pieces where I'm only showing you the first pass of shading. I do a secondary pass with a darker tone, but again, it takes up a lot of time, and it's just basically me redrawing the shading, and I don't think you guys want to watch me redraw shading a million times before I get to the actual fun part of recoloring it and stuff like that. So I cut that out of this piece. But again, this is a relatively simple one, and it was easy to shade and nothing too complicated about it. So yeah. just finishing up the shading on her hair here, and you'll see in a minute that I also use that shortening editing technique to shorten the editing time or the shading time on the flowers, because again, there were a lot of them in this piece, and I didn't want to take up too much of the video talking about or showing you guys me shading a million bajillion flowers on her hair and on her ponytail there. And I really need to take the time and draw flowers instead of these shapeless lumps I'm calling flowers that you can just assume are flowers of some sort. I really need to go the extra mile next time and actually draw flowers instead of shapeless lumps. It's been a bad habit of mine for quite a while now, but it gets the job done most of the time. Here I am just shading the lotus, putting a little more detail in it with the shading than I did with the line art. That's something I'm trying to apply more to my art in general and not just with this particular piece. And we're finally moving on to shading the earring, which I think is, next to the hair, is probably the most intricate part of this piece. It was just really detailed, and again, was there to sort of contrast with the ponytail on the other side, and just sort of, again, frame her face as the main portion. So I'm changing the colors. I've talked about this before. I think by the time this video goes up, yes, I've talked about it before, but I'm trying to work more with my different colors. With, like I said, I have a bad habit of just using a darker shade of the base color to shade my images, and that's not excellent. That's sort of a rookie mistake for somebody who's been doing art as long as I have. So I'm definitely playing with that more and trying to make my artwork more dynamic using different colors as undershading. So you can see the kind of purple under the blue, and sort of the grayish under the light pink of her hair, and the reddish under the flowers. I was initially going to have my usual overshade, but I ended up scrapping it. By the end of this, I wanted it to be more pop arty, I guess. That's sort of the feel I wanted to go for, so I just left out that overshading, and I also blended out the darker shading so they were a little bit softer. And initially I was going to leave the line art blue. I sort of like the look of that, but then I realized I didn't. And so I started coloring the reds, started doing the line art colors, and I really think that made the piece that much more cohesive and put together, and it made just things that are individual pop a little bit more. So you can tell that her hair is supposed to be a sort of pinkish white rather than just this lumpy whitish gray, and you can see the gold really stands out after I do the line art, as do the other pinks. So I'm really happy with this piece. I was considering putting it on merchandise. I don't know, let me guys know what you think in the comments down below, and we should be shifting on into the final piece here in just a moment. If you like what you see, don't forget to click that like button. You can always subscribe for a brand new video from me every single week in your inbox, and don't forget to leave a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye bye.